Hey everyone, welcome to Fragging Gamer Stereotypes. Welcome to the final day of PAX. How are you enjoying it? We have a few hours left, so thank you for coming all the way from Boston, New York, where are you? Kentucky? Who came the farthest?
Ireland.
Ireland! Oh my gosh, nice. Thank you. Thank you for spending one of the final hours of PAX East here with us.
After Mass Effect cosplay, there was somebody who came from New Zealand.
Whoa, that's far.
Well, I'm half Irish, so just raise a fist. We're high too. No points. So thank you. We should introduce ourselves. I'm Torres. I'm the host of 2DX.com and the host of its podcast, the best damn video game podcast ever on 2DX.com. I also write for PC Mag, Computer Shopper, and I've done work for, what have I done work for? The Jersey Journal. I'm from New Jersey. Woo! Yes.
One guy.
The home of Springsteen and Kevin Smith, Aquatine Hunger Force, and Negus XLR.
And smelly water.
If anyone remembers that old Cartoon Network show about giant robots, I love giant robots, so I love Metal Gear Solid. It's one of my favorite games. Super Metroid, just in my favorites. And Monster Hunter. My favorite gamers are all here today. So I will allow them to introduce themselves. Let's start with Tony. Would you like to say a few words?
I would like to say a word or two. What's going on, people? My name is Tony Polanco. I'm a staff writer for DualShockers.com. I write about video games, all that other stuff. I used to be the senior editor of SDF Play, and before that, I slaved away on a blog because I love video games. I pretty much been a geek my entire life since I was a kid. I love robots, anime, all that stuff. It's just great. And anytime, write about it on a daily basis is like the greatest thing ever. It's awesome. You don't need to know much more about me. I'm awesome at how I'm, and I like geeky stuff.
Hi everybody, my name is Johnathan Gibbs. I am the founder of Edugation.com as well as production manager at 2DX.com. And my favorite games are the topic that we have sworn not to talk about on this panel, Final Fantasy, the series. If you go to 2DX.com, check out any of our podcasts, you'll see that all things lead back to Square. Except here, we've promised not to do it, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll see. Gabe, if you were.
So I'm Gabriel Zamora. I'm the features editor at 2DX.com, but I also freelance for Examiner.com and for PC Magazine. As far as favorite games, action and RPG, so Final Fantasy. Among other RPGs and Ninja Gaiden games, Devil May Cry, that's my shtick, so that's really it. Nothing to add. I like cooking, hate cleaning, and there we go.
Dianna is next, and if you were lucky enough to see her panel yesterday, she did a beautiful, wonderful panel. How amazing it is to be a female in the video game industry. Hopefully you can go see
I was reveling in the clappage. Thanks, guys. I am Dianna Lora. I am the community manager for DualShockers.com. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy video games. I also enjoy playing tabletop games, D&D. I've got a major loving for, instead of that word. Are we allowed to curse?
I don't know, I was trying. That's why I was stuttering. I didn't know I was going to curse that stuff.
I'll be good. We're good. It's a good panel. Yeah, so I play a lot of D&D. I am not going to mention that, which must not be named game that we are not allowed to talk about. Final Fantasy. One of my favorite games as well. And yeah, I just like to talk. That's about it, really.
Is it my turn? Yep. Okay. I'm Rouse, professional man-child.
I write for 2dx.com. I'm also the community manager, which means I do all of the social network junk that nobody else wants to do. I started out at Examiner, but I don't think they know that, and I hope they don't, because I've worked for them for years. I enjoy all things Batman. Kingdom Hearts for life. And that's pretty much it. Aspiring comic book writer. So if you see my name, you knew this guy before you got started.
All right, board is set. So let's get the pieces moving. So who's ready to frag some gamer stereotypes?
Let's do that.
First, let's
Define fragging for those of us who do not.
Define
I mean, I know what the word fragging means, but I mean, like, for those of us who do not know.
Back in the days of Doom and Quake, that was just a way of saying killing your opponent, killing an avatar, someone's character. So in some way, I guess we're reinforcing one at the same time. But first, let's define what is a gamer. How do we even define what that is? And is it a label worth keeping? Present that question to you.
To me?
To us. Whoever wants to hop on.
That's the thing, it's like, that term has been around for so long, you can't just ditch it. I think we're stuck with it.
Yeah.
But you're right, I mean, that's a loaded question right there. What is a gamer? Because you have the casual gamers, you have the hardcore gamers, you have the blah, blah, blah gamers. There's all so many variations of gamers, so how do you even, like, put down what is an actual gamer? It's hard to do that. It's like, I think it might be easier to say whoever plays video games and enjoys them is a gamer.
Well, what do we think
I think I'm going to cut that off. That's right there. It's not just video games. I think it's all types of gaming.
Yeah.
So it's just that it's the essence of play. If you just like to play, you are technically a gamer.
Yeah.
In some way or another. I mean, that could just be, liking to enjoying playing hopscotch. Then that means that you're a gamer in some way or another because you enjoy playing hopscotch. So that's my definition of a gamer. So I think that we as gamers of the video game department, it's like a store. And this is the video game department of the gamer store, and we like to. I just made that analogy.
Yeah,
I actually think that's actually a really great one. Thank you very much. Self high five on that one for me. So the video game department of that store is we just like to shout really loud.
I want to see Wes Anderson make a movie about that. The dioramas and all that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I guess we think that the idea of a real gamer, is that outdated? Is that the whole
It kind of is.
casual?
Yeah, it kind of is. If you enjoy video games, it's your hobby, you love it, you're a gamer. It's as simple as that.
Okay. So
It's just the way it is.
So are gamers unattractive?
Let's get sexy people here.
I mean, I think that speaks for itself. James Bond playing the PS3, I think that's shattered that stereotype. I think the people on this panel, I think most of the faces in the audience. So I'm just going to go through a few quick ones just to knock them out. Are gamers violent malcontents?
This is the way I see it.
Yeah.
If gamers, if games made people violent, everyone in here would be a serial killer, right? That's dumb. Like, the way I see it is like, if you go out and murder a bunch of people, if you didn't make you do that, you already have something messed up with inside of you.
It's crazy.
Exactly. So yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit. It's not true.
With gaming, we get so involved in what we're doing. Like, we stand hard for these games that we play, whether you're a Madden player or whether, like me, a Street Fighter player. Now, Street Fighter brings the hellion out of me. I've broken controllers over Street Fighter. Before I could, get the Wusaw thing into place, I literally sat in my living room, spiked the controller, and it ended up under my bed in the master bedroom. I kid you not. So, I would say that it brings something out of you purely because we all have that competitive nature in us to a certain degree. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that because you see football players and, other people that get really upset when, they're invested in something. So it just brings out that competitive nature in us.
I think there was a study that came out like last week where some gamers aren't violent, they just get frustrated.
Just like normal human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, it's a matter of how you. I think there are extremes to everything, in my opinion. I feel like there are extremes to all different types of things. And when it comes to gaming, we're very passionate. We're a very passionate group of people. It doesn't matter because I've gotten into fights with my D&D crew. Like, you know, like we Jesus, like there's just stuff. I don't talk to them. Like sometimes we got into a fight once, or I didn't talk to like one particular person for like a week and a half because I felt like they were just being way too role play in this one particular thing. I'm starting to get heated again about it, thinking about it. But you know what? It's I think we're just a passionate group of people, and one of the things about this panel, the intention of it is to try and sort of pinpoint exactly why, you know, like where exactly these stereotypes come from. Like where do they come from? Like it's just, and it's from space, from the ether of the world.
In terms of violence, you know, we always see those news stories that run, you know, anytime there's an awful shooting somewhere and they find out that the person played Call of Duty or Doom back in the day, then it's like, oh, gamers are violent people and if they get out of hand and they're going to go and do something horrible.
It's the same thing like rock and roll, remember? Like when rock first came out, that was the...
I don't know.
Okay, I'm old enough to remember that kind of thing. But anyway, it's basically new rock and roll. Like, it's an easy thing to attack because a lot of people don't understand video games. So when they see someone murdering everyone in video games, that must be it. That's the thing that's wrong because they don't understand games. That's where that particular stereotype comes from. You know, right now it's video games. It's going to be something else eventually. It's just the way it always is.
I think that whatever the media sees and the kids like that has some sort of grit to it, they automatically just put the violence of the world and base it off of that. So it used to be like Ozzy Osbourne, it used to be like Marilyn Manson. I mean, I don't know if he's still edgy or not, but whatever. It was comic books in the 70s. It's everybody who loves those certain things knows it's crap, and the people who don't, the only functioning human beings can do is just look at the community and how they carry themselves. So if we don't want those stereotypes, we just have to carry ourselves in a way that we would like to be seen.
Seriously. Do you guys remember? Do you guys remember when we had the? It started with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and how like it was when we had the influx of these fantastic martial arts movies come to like major to the movie theaters. I remember watching a news report, and they were saying, don't go and watch these movies because as soon as you're done watching these movies, you're going to want to punch somebody and jump off a building and do crazy things. And it's just like, what? This is sensational. It's just sensational. And it's just trying to scare people, and it's unnecessary and dumb and stupid.
It's almost like the media or people in general have forgotten what context means. Like, I've walked out of Quentin Tarantino movies and I've never wanted to get a suit and get a jerry curl and start reciting Bible verse. You know what I mean? Although that would be cool. I would love to be the righteous man. But, you know, it's context.
Are you not the righteous man?
I am not this weekend.
All right, here's the next quick one. Are gamers lifeless schlubs with no social skills?
That's not true. I mean, that's not true. We just saw a picture of good old James Bond up there playing, so there's a stigma attached to gamers because of the violence and because of the sloth-like behavior. You live in your mother's basement and you know all of this stuff. And it's like, that's just not how it is. And I'll get more into that when we get into the age part of the thing, or the, you know, is it appropriate to play at over the age of 12? Thing, where I was going to say that the industry matured with us, and so you've got all sorts of people playing games now. You know,
we can do that now if you want.
Oh, well, go ahead.
Well, you were doing such a fine job.
Well, actually, the whole thing is, yeah, a lot of different people play games. It's not just like the dude who lives in his basement. I hate that stereotype, by the way. You know, it's like you got doctors, lawyers, professional people, and maybe people who don't have a job. Everybody plays games. So saying that, you know, it's just for like worthless schlubs, that's another really ridiculous when it doesn't make any sense, especially given nowadays.
I think it's important for us as a group and as a, for us to sort of, try and work together to not perpetuate those stereotypes either. It's like, does that make sense? Like, is that rude to say? I mean, I don't know.
No.
Is it rude to say, like, guys, just don't let people tell you that you're a worthless schlub. Don't let people tell you that, that you're a loser or anything like that. I just don't think that's cool. Just fuck off.
There's like a heap of stereotypes like within and outside the gaming community. Like, the term fake girl gamer and things like that. Just think that it's a way for people in the community to sort of disband like an entire group of people who want to be a part of a community. It's almost like the bullies, the people who got bullied eventually become the bullied in the gaming community. It's no sort of like kinship where we should be taking these people in under our wings, people are getting their feet wet, and say, hey, okay, you game casually, you play Candy Crush, whatever, that's cool. I don't think you're not a gamer for that. Just come on in, you're part of the family. There's a lot of us that don't do that. And I think that stereotype where we say this person is the type of gamer, something that a true gamer needs to stop.
Well, yeah, I actually got something to say about it. This is a little personal. I hope you guys don't care about that. About the whole antisocial thing. I've met so many awesome people because I'm writing about video games. Before I started doing this, I'll just be honest, I didn't have any direction in my life. I was doing nothing. I started writing and I started meeting people, and it's giving me direction. I'm like, okay, I know what I want to do. I know where the horizon leads. That's because of video games. And it made me antisocial or anything. So, I don't know. I mean, yeah, no, it can make you antisocial. I mean, look at all of us here. We all, know other people. We network. It's all part of it. It's all, video games do that. People say that video games are like exclusive to people. It's not. It's inclusive. It brings all of us together. So yeah, I don't like that one. I keep ending with them going, that's stupid. But it's giving me direction in my life, and that's why I love video games. That's part of it, at least,
Well, Johnathan, I was gonna say, I personally, I feel that everybody here has their own life. Everybody has their job. We all game. That's what keeps us, I guess, not together, but it's something we all share in common. It's a hobby that we all share. We all like to game. We all like to play around. So when people say gaming, gamers, I feel like they put us in like a bubble, like we were our own kind of separate people. And it's not the case. Like, I'm sure everybody here, there's probably a lawyer, there's probably some kind of writer. Everybody here has their own life. Everybody here has their own job. Everybody has their own responsibilities. Everybody's their own person. A gamer is a part of that. And I feel a lot of the stereotypes just come from, you get some bad eggs, you get some great people. I mean, nobody writes about the doctor who also plays. They write about the crazy little kid who had a rough life and decided to go and, do something stupid. Because that's what the media sees. And the big issue I feel with a lot of that is that people in, I guess, society view gaming as kind of like a child's hobby. They don't look at it as a serious, hobby. It's like, kids do that. Kids play games. And that's obviously not the case. I don't see any kids in the audience here today, as a matter of fact. Or maybe I do, But I mean, we're all adults here. We're all adults here. We all play games. It's just something we share in common, and that's that.
And it's really up to us to sort of take that and empower ourselves to sort of change it from within, because I'm all about trying to find some sort of equality and trying to remove that sort of like, well, you're a girl gamer, you're a boy gamer, you play tabletops, so you sit over there. It's like, that's stupid. We all like to play games, so let's cut the crap out and let's just like play games and accept each other and be friends and paint rainbows and just do little corny shit like that, because it's important and it's necessary. Otherwise, then what are we doing this for? What is the purpose? Like, what is the purpose of you getting pissed off over stupid things like whether or not a girl plays video games or not? That has no, that doesn't influence you or make you change you in any sort of way. She just happens to play video games. Who gives a shit? Let her play her video games. That's it. So, I'm sorry, I'm cursing so much. It's like every time I curse, I see somebody go, like, so it's just like, let's be inclusive and not exclusive.
It really kills me when people find out that you play video games and then they're like, oh, you play video games, or oh, you play tabletop or whatever. But then tell me again how you're all invested in your fantasy football league.
Yeah.
We're standing over these imaginary things. It's a game.
I said the same thing to a bunch of bro dudes who play Final Fantasy.
There we go.
I leave, I'm sorry. Who play fantasy football. And I said, guys, do you guys know what you're doing right now? And I said, you guys are playing D&D.
Yeah, they hate you.
You guys are totally making your perfect party and then going out and like destroying each other.
Yeah.
And they looked at me like I was batshit crazy. And then I pulled out the instructions for a D&D game. Instructions and then like showed them like the fantasy football and they couldn't say anything about that.
Yeah, and it's not that we're trying to point it out and like get on them because that's what they're doing. We're just saying, hey, you're included in this broad term of gaming.
Are we? Are we putting them?
But the thing is, in their mind, a gamer is a bad thing, has a bad connotation.
Yeah.
So even though they're doing the same thing we're doing, they don't want to admit it.
Yeah, but they all play funny bird, Flappy Bird.
Yeah, it's like, dude, look at all these numbers you're staring at. Like, that's stats, dude. That's like an RPG. You're doing the same thing I'm doing. But it's ingrained in their mind that gamer is a bad thing. They don't want to admit it.
Still, yeah, it gets me when I'm on the subway and I'm playing 3DS and I look across the subway.
Yeah.
And someone's playing on their phone and they see my red 3DS, I'm playing Bravely Default or something. And they're like,
Yeah, then you go back to the
can't get that gamer, exactly. Speaking of, you said something about how people still see gaming as a kid's hobby.
Yeah, even though it's a billion-dollar industry.
It is.
Something that
GTA 5 made more money than like all the movies that weekend or something.
Yeah, the cost of
What happens? Isn't that an actual fact?
Yes, Halo 2 made more money than any movie when it came out. Every Halo game after that, GTA, Titanfall probably made big box office splash. But yeah, gaming makes more money than movies at this point.
GTA 5 isn't really a kid's.
I think the point is that it's not being taken seriously when it should be. It's making tons and tons of dosh. But the point I wanted to get back to is about kids have a tendency to whine and cry and be entitled. Are gamers the same way? Because a few years ago, 2012,
Oh God. Please don't.
entitled and entitlement were the buzzwords of the year because of Mass Effect 3. That came out and it caused a big stir. And 99%, I think that's a fair ratio of people hated the ending.
That's so not even true.
Well, eventually the outcry was enough that BioWare decided they caved in and decided to change the ending.
Now, did they cave in or did they listen to the fans?
Or was it a story worth ending correctly? Some might be well, they didn't. Did they? Here's the question: Are we entitled? Are there times where it's okay for us to be entitled? Is it a case-by-case basis?
I think we're using the term entitled as a derogatory phrase. I feel like we should.
What I'm getting at.
What?
That's what I'm getting at. I think it's okay sometimes. I think we're not entitled so much as we know we're being hosed. I think we have. I think as customers we have a right to to call out crappy companies on their crappy practices. BioWare and EA promised endings that would, bring an end to our 3-game journey.
I'm going to play devil's advocate now. Go ahead. Because I absolutely hated the endings. Chris, you know what's up. Basically, it's their story to tell. It's not our story. I mean, okay, here's the thing with Mass Effect. It's funny because you are kind of telling a story, but at the end of the day, it's their story to tell. So we could have bitched and moaned. I know I bitched and moaned, but they didn't have to change it. That's still their work. So I think it's really up to the developer of the game to change things if they want to. Like, even if they have as much hate mail or whatever as Mass Effect 3 got, they didn't need to do that. I'm happy they did that, but they didn't need to do that.
That's the thing.
I'm torn about that because personally, I'm like, oh my, 99%, that's a low number. I'm like 99.99.
That's not true. It's not 99%. Stop using that as an actual number. Come on. It's not 99%. This is the loud people.
Well, the thing that got me is that the game's press, or a lot of them, shamed a lot of the people who were complaining and sided with the publisher. They put publishers above readers, above customers. That's what got me. That it felt to me like a bit of bullying. Like, you can't complain. Sit down. You paid the money.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's
they did the same thing with Xbox One's DRM too.
Yeah.
That whole deal with it thing.
Well, that was just a big fuck up to begin with, though.
Right. All this. I went to a panel last night where Major Nelson, the head of Xbox, blamed social media for Microsoft's foibles last year. Social media, Twitter, is used as a platform for protest and criticism and praise all at the same time. But a company can't feel bullied by their customers.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I think when the whole Mass Effect ordeal happened, it opened up Pandora's box. It's sort of like a thing where you do not negotiate with terrorists type deal. And now that that's happened, you just go on any type of forum of whatever game you're just looking up, you just see like a list of people complaining, or you'll see a petition up accusing the company of false advertisement. I think sometimes it does get out of hand. I do think it's awesome that we have a voice and that our voice can be heard when a game comes out and it's not lived up to the expectation and it does not deliver. But at the same time, we should not abuse their power and get spoiled and rotten because some little tiny change happened in the game, or it didn't do a tiny little thing that you didn't like. I think that we should be responsible with the new power of the internet that we have. And
We're all just trying to figure it out. I think first of all, I think it's awesome that we as a community are able to sort of express ourselves so freely, and we're able to say, I didn't like this, therefore I'm going to write on BioWare's forums and say, and have a communication with staff members. I mean, first of all, I think that's fantastic. I think it's amazing. So BioWare in some respects is breaking down the barriers between the devs and the folks who actually buy their games, which is something that I think is great, because the only way that you can sort of express yourself is by using money. Like, if you don't like something, don't buy it. At the end of the day, if you like something, you buy it. That's why we had 3 Mass Effect games. So I think that's fantastic. But the idea that we do abuse that power. We do abuse that power and a lot. And I think that to bring it to the positive, we need to be positive about it. Is we need to say, how do we move beyond that? Like, how do we stop getting the label that we are entitled gamers?
I think less death threats on forums, more productive.
And I think that at the end of the day, that's the heart of the matter, is how do, like, and I say we, because we are a community, and we need to unite and paint rainbows on walls.
Right.
And we need to say that sort of crap is unacceptable.
If we don't want to be seen a certain way, we should carry ourselves in a way that we should.
There you go.
To be seen, whether it's in real life
Remember
or
what
it's
your mommy told you.
Remember what mommy said, guys?
Yeah.
Don't treat others the way you don't want to be. I don't know.
Did you don't remember what your mommy said to you?
I want to ask, with Mass Effect, was that first ending, like what happened before everybody lost their shit, was that intended by EA, even though they said like, oh, you're gonna have this, all your choices from all the other games are gonna be this, so is it basically an accepted fact that they were rushed or pressed for time, or is this what they intended?
No, it was different than the original ending. It's totally different.
Okay, so that question leads into where do we draw the line between this is what they intended and this is what you get, and you voicing your opinion and saying, hey, I don't like this, versus what was that one movie where he was an author and he got stranded somewhere with a crazy lady and she broke his legs? Misery. Like, so where do we draw the line between these people that demand change because it's what I want versus I didn't like this, and I'm going to talk about it really loudly?
Personally, I think it's a hard line to draw. Simply because, like, I'm, like, for example, a Devil May Cry fan, and I'm not a big fan of the reboot. So, I mean, a lot of...
Were you one of the people who were sending death threats?
No, I mean, I didn't go that far, obviously, but I did.
But that's the thing, it's the extreme, that's what we're talking
Well,
about.
then, I mean, that's
The thing is that like, the gamer press and publishers shut you down.
Right.
You all had legit complaints that had nothing to do with the color of his hair.
Exactly.
Or everything.
But you would go on any gaming website, and the first thing you would see is fans are complaining about the hair. And it's like, look, it's not the hair anymore. It's like the hair thing was a big deal when we first saw that trailer. We're like, who's this punk kid? This is Dante? Whoa. But then after you see some actual gameplay, you go, this doesn't look all that great either. And then you start, putting things down. You write that, you put it on forums, and then you never see any of that in any news article or anything for that matter. Nobody would talk about how the game is flawed. They would just talk about, well, fans complain, what do they know?
Guys, you
Yes.
sound like entitled video gamers. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Stop. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what BioWare decided. What matters is how do we stop doing that shit? Like, how do we stop people from sending death threats and stop?
I don't see that.
But I'm saying it's just like that's the question. It's like we're trying to get beyond that. We're trying to get we're trying to evolve and become better.
You know what I
better
think it is?
community.
I think-
It's my job. I'm a community manager. That's like my thing. Like, so,
Yeah, I know.
so why? I'm sorry. I don't think like Dante's hair color is important because it's a piece of art. It's it's a product that at the end of the day, if you don't like it, then don't fucking buy it. So stop complaining about it. I'm sorry.
I agree. No, you're right. You're right. Absolutely. And you don't.
Hey, can I jump in real quick?
Saying that you don't like it either.
Yes, that's true, but it's perfectly fine. It's like you're going to an art museum and one person looks at a Jackson Pollock and goes, I don't get it. And another person says, this is amazing. I see the mystery of life in it. It's like it's two completely different ideas. And we are all, as you can see, opinionated about certain things. And it's for me, it's how do we get beyond like the whining and like I don't know.
The wonderful double-edged sword thing about the industry is that as we established earlier, it does include people of all ages because the industry has matured. So whereas people up here are not going to send death threats, no offense to 12 and 13 and adolescent-year-old people out here, but adolescent-year-olds, they're going to be mainly going to be the ones on their computers who are just saying some way out shit about how they're going to do this thing. I mean, granted, you do have your extreme cases of adults.
I feel the anonymity of the internet also happens. I mean, you can say whatever you want and no one's ever really know what the hell you
Yeah, you're not going to.
So if you want to be a complete prick, you can do that, and no one's going to call you on that. I think the best that we could do would be just calling people when you know that they're complaining about it. Look, I understand, I appreciate that you don't like this and that or the other, and that's fine. And if they go out of line and start complaining and doing crazy threats and all that, calling them on that is about the best we could do.
Yeah,
There's nothing else we can do.
I think that's my point. It's just that we, like, how do we, instead of complaining about it, how do we find some sort of a way to say, hey, maybe you should stop sending death threats. That's a good idea. Or, hey, how about you stop being an asshole? I think that's at the end of the day.
Actually,
bullying, I mean, that's another thing. Hey, it's about how we come together and we say, that shit is not cool. Like, stop it. And then when you call out somebody, like, you have to educate people. It's important to educate people. That's how you frag the stereotype, if that's what we're talking about.
I think
you frag the stereotype.
Hey, Dan, can I get in real quick? Because you're getting really passionate right now. What about having more people like actually speak up that actually talk positive about games?
That's what I'm saying.
You know, like instead of because you're not gonna stop people from doing dumb shit. What you need to do is have people that actually like the game speak up, because that's the only people that, you know, like the majority of people like games. You know, why don't they talk more? I think if you had the majority speak up, the minority, which are the crazy people, they would be kind of tempered down.
Doing this panel and we would be talking about it, and we wouldn't be at PAX East, which is a gaming community. So it's like it's education. It's education, and it's also being that person that steps up and says that shit is not okay.
Yeah.
Dianna,
end of panel.
Do girl gamers exist?
What was that?
Girl gamers, are they a thing? Just because there are girl gamers, does that mean they're all girl gamers?
I don't like the term girl gamer. I'm just
I hate it.
who likes to play video games.
Because it perpetuates the
No. But I mean, I'm sorry. The hostility was on purpose. I think that is such a stupid term. I mean, it's like, I don't call you boy gamers.
Yeah, it's like, what do your genitals have to do with anything? If you play video games, you're a gamer.
I don't call you a boy gamer, so why do you call me a girl gamer?
Well, why is
it? I mean, that's the end of it. That's the thing. And so, like, and again, it's using. And if you want to take the title girl gamer, whatever, that's your business. I'm not going to judge you for it. It's okay, but I don't want to be separated. I want to be unified. I want to be a part of. Oh my goodness. I want to be a part of the group. I don't want to be like in a different.
How can we help you be part of the group?
I think that the subcategories of gamers is just a way to stifle people and not accept them into the community. Like, I've accepted a long time ago that my sister will always be better than me at Left 4 Dead 2. She plays on expert. I don't know how she does it. I die every time. She's superb, and I think she's awesome for it. Being a gamer, being a girl and a gamer, being a guy and a gamer, it's all the same stuff. The only thing that makes it different is how much time you put into your craft, how much you enjoy it, how much you love it. I think the entire mantra coming from me today is just, be less judgmental, be more accepting. Girls, I'm getting ready to say gamer girl. Girls who play games are part of the community. It's nothing special. There's nothing crazy about it. They're just part of us, man. They're just one of us, and you should treat them as such.
But you know what's actually pretty funny? A fun fact is that women actually were the first. Women computer games used to be a woman's work. And then, little by little, there are actual ads out there, if you search them and Google them, that there are ads that are like, I'm forgetting. It's like, give a computer to your woman. It's like stupid, sexist shit like that, So it's like, we used to code because it was women's work, and it would be secretarial stuff. And then, it's sort of like the 80s, 90s when like we got like the crazy ads that developed in like Nintendo Power and all those old those old magazines, it sort of became like a dude bro sort of idea, and then little by little, the woman sort of got pushed away, and it's women have always been gaming. It's just that like the media does not let you believe that women game, so it's not a weird thing. So then why is it weird? Like why is that? Why do I look forward to the day where we don't have to have panels that talk about the need for having, you know, more diversity. Like it's like, if next year's panel we don't have to, next year's PAX East we don't have to do a panel like this. Like that's like
We could talk about Final Fantasy.
We could talk about a Final Fantasy. Dang, we did it again. So yeah, that's what I think about it. I'm sorry.
But why is gender like the issue right now? There are a lot of panels about it. There are. Yes.
Do you think that maybe I would say it's responsible for the fact that it was called the Game Boy? How much damage do you think that's done to the archetype of female gamers and male gamers?
That's actually a brilliant question.
Yeah,
I would love to research that. I honestly, I think
Virtual boards.
Game Boy. You're right. I have no idea. I think that I would love to find that out. If anybody wants to do that research as well, then let's talk and we'll do that. I think that's a fucking awesome question.
What would be the alternate name of that? The game thing? What would you call it?
Marketing. I mean, it's marketing. It's about marketing as well. You know, so you have.
Would they buy it?
What was it? Game Girl?
Right, the game girl, yeah.
Is it Game Girl?
Because
I don't know. It does, to me, you know, that sounds terrible. I don't think it sounds right, but like that's because I've had 30 years of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We are going to have a Q&A session 15 minutes before the end, so if you want to start lining up, there's a microphone right there. We will answer anything you have to say.
Right, we're
So
actually
start
at
lining
that
up.
time. We're actually at that time, so.
We're at that time.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much more to talk about. What challenges face the LGBT gamer?
Oh yes, that's.
It's just the same with, I guess we're going to go into people of color as well. These stereotypes, especially when you're playing like on live or something, and your gamer tag has anything to do with being a member of the LGBT community, or if you're speaking over live and someone can hear the terminology you're using after the game is over, the ugliness of the anonymity of the internet rears its ugly head, and people just become vicious. It's crazy. They'll call you all sorts of crazy names. It's like. It's a struggle, and until people change their nature, I don't think.
I think gamers should be stoked that there are people who are of different ilk from all over the world, who have different ideologies, different views on life, different sense of intelligence, that we all come together and enjoy gaming. I think that all your life experiences, all your thoughts, all your beliefs should just be out of the window when it comes to gaming, because you are a part of the community, and gaming is the shared interest. We should just be stoked that there's so many people from all different backgrounds who think all different types of things, and you all have something in common. It's some way that you can somehow be friends and communicate with each other. I don't know. Less judgmental.
I think it's a responsibility of the developers as well, because I just saw a meme on Facebook this morning showing, it said our mascots of the 80s and 90s, and it had Sonic and Mario and like all these cartoon animal things, and then it was like the 90s to the 2000s, Crash Bandicoot, blah, 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 you know, all these more animals. And then like after 2005 and on, they all look like, they're all leading white males that look like a bro. It's, you know, Last of Us, Far Cry, Mass Effect. I mean, but you can change yourself on Mass Effect, but on the cover. So it's like, until they start showing more diversity in mainstream gaming and like big budget projects, it's not gonna happen. And you can't just include someone because, and then like focusing on that thing, like, oh, we have a gay person in the game, or oh, we have a black person in the game. It's like, when is it gonna be?
It used to be you know the Walking Dead game, right? The main character is black. That's never an issue. Like the game is just a character. Just happens to be black. Exactly. That's the way it should be.
But I think the question is whose responsibility is for that. My question to you is whose responsibility is that? Because I have the answer to it.
I think it should come from the people. I think it should come from the people via Twitter or whatever forums, and it should be less hateful comments about wanting diversity in gaming and more like, hey, you know, my kid or me, we like somebody that we can look at and be like, oh man, that could be me in this situation. Somebody, just some way, anyway, whether it's gender or whether it's sexuality, just and not matter and not be a token character and just be, oh, he's so happy to be gay, he just so happens to be black. I think ideally that's the way you have to go, and that's what you have to demand from developers, but in a much more polite manner.
I'm not going to say that they have to be back in the table, but basically, they are a majority for a reason, and we're a minority for a reason. Like, we can have a loud voice, but then it's going to come across as angry or whatever. I think it's a responsibility of the majority to be more inclusive and show the rest of the people that this is a part of the culture.
No, but what I agree with that, but I also think that we have to empower ourselves and try and be proactive in that.
Yeah,
and that means that we have to start. If you want to be in gaming, then you want to make a game, then make a game and make it the way you want it to look. Because the thing is the unfortunate thing or fortunate thing. I mean, I think that the thing is that you look at the staff members of these major companies, and they are, and there's nothing wrong with it, they are white males. And do you disagree with that? Please tell me.
I think that there's a bit more diversity than just that.
I know, and that's why I said I apologize if it seems very general. And the thing is, what I'm trying to get to my point, so that we are not misunderstood, is if we want more women in gaming, then we need to code. We need to go in there. We need to get in there. We need to make games that we need to make games that have more women in them. We need to be louder in the discussions when we make these games. If we want to have more people of color in there, I feel like we need to be louder in these like discussions, and we need to say when we're building these games, we need to say, hey, maybe it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if this person is black or white or Asian or anything like that. It doesn't matter, or straight or whatever. It doesn't matter. People will buy the game if it's good. I feel like we need to be inside, like we need to actively like be making these games and sending them out to the world. That's kind of, it's some roundabout way. I'm probably not explaining myself very correctly. I apologize.
It's okay. We're going to have our first question. Could you please, what's your name?
My name's Bronnie.
Hello.
Hello, my question was about Mass Effect. There's rumors about that the DLC endings that BioWare had intended to release them anyway, but that they had intended to charge for it, but that the fallout from the endings made them cause them to provide it for free. But also in regards to Mass Effect, in the row over the endings, there were some of the developers were attacking fans as well. And other people involved in the game, like Jessica Chulbot, called on her blog, she referred to whiny, entitled gamers complaining about the ending without her actually having played the ending herself. And I think it's a bit, if you're involved in the game yourself, you have a vested interest, and maybe it's not a good idea to attack the fans.
I agree.
And also, I would question her involvement in the game, because it sounds like that BioWare gave her a part in the game, so they could get good reviews of IGN, because IGN basically gave Mass Effect really high. I think they gave Mass Effect some really high 10 out of 10 and 10 out of 10, and also I think they might have attacked people who criticized the games as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are a lot of conspiracies, and I know a lot of things that happened in that whole mess. That I think that I personally think is my thing is how do we think beyond that? How do we try and think beyond it and like try and learn from that experience and hopefully like Jesus, like that never happens again. In my opinion, I don't.
Well, I do think publishers and games industry writers wouldn't attack customers like that again, and actually consider the possibility that, hey, maybe our complaints are valid. I do think it is case by case. At the same time, I do think we should not be lashing out the way we do anonymously online with crazy death threats and imposing our will on others by forcing our opinions on one another. That is also a form of entitlement. So I think it does go both ways, like Dianna was getting at earlier. But we'll see what happens with Mass Effect 4.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hey guys.
What's your name? Michael?
Yes. First of all, great panel. You guys are awesome.
Oh, hey.
Shout out to
What's your shirt? Is that your food?
I wish. John Green, who's an author.
Okay.
It's a meme. Kind of. Kind of sad things. I just have a few things. I wrote them down so I didn't forget them. First being what you were saying about playing on the subway at video games and people just kind of like staring at you like, oh, you want
It doesn't happen as often.
I've actually had someone come up to me on the subway. I live in New York City, so I've had someone who decided that they're cool enough to come up to me and say, aren't you a little old for that?
What train were you on?
I was on the Q train? Or the N train? I forget one of those, but
Astoria?
One of the yellow.
I was in Midtown. I was going to either Astoria or I was going down into Brooklyn. I was like right in the middle of Manhattan. And I literally was just like, fuck. You know that meme of Barack Obama whenever anybody asks him anything crazy? He's like, that's basically what I did. But then I realized it was just a crazy homeless man. The second, the study you're talking about with gamers being prone to violence, and what they realized is that they actually have just emotions. They realized that emotion is actually incompetency. So I think that
It's incompetency?
yeah, they feel incompetent when you cannot succeed at the video game that you're playing, which makes you feel like you can't do anything. And I think that in a sense, would make you even less so to be violent, because you feel like you can't even do that.
That's interesting.
So I thought that was pretty cool when I read that. And the outcry for bad games and endings, and I think we see that a lot also in other types of media, like movies, for example.
Yes.
I mean, they do screenings for people, and you see people get bad screenings and posting on Twitter like this, suck, and then go back to the
They change
everything. Same thing with books. I mean, I just finished reading the Divergent series, and I didn't like it. And there are a lot of people that I talked to who are like, I didn't like it either. And I don't feel like anything's going to be done about it, but I feel like in terms of like writing other forms of novels within that story area, a lot of authors do that if they feel like they let their audience down. And in terms of death threats, unfortunately, on the internet, I think there's like this thing that people like to do where if you want to make yourself known, you just be really loud.
Yeah. And then you just and I think that we need to sort of stop that.
Yeah.
We need to tell people that that's just not okay.
It's not.
It's not.
We have like 10 minutes left.
Sure. Can I just add just one more thing? Just for the LGBT inclusion, just the biggest thing for me, I know it wasn't that big with the DLC for Last of Us with Left Behind, with Riley and Ellie. I thought that was beautiful. And like, I don't, when they kissed, I wasn't like, oh my god, ew, two girls kissing. I was like, oh my god, this is the most like beautiful relationship I've ever seen in my life. That's the thing.
And it wasn't like boom in your face. It was, right, it was so just like.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. It's like the developers are just.
Hi, what's your name?
Oh, hey, I'm Bas. I had a question for you, Dianna, and I guess everyone can throw in about it. It was just about, do you feel that when it comes to great gaming stereotypes, threats of violence, and then like the entitlement that I believe that you mentioned before, like so much of that seems to be part of a dialogue about privilege and entitlement that doesn't seem to really happen, and not so many people are aware of it. And is it being, after attending a lot of panels here at PAX East this year about diversity, about LGBT, about hip-hop and gaming, etc., like, I feel like there's been a little bit of a lost opportunity. I was wondering if you felt the same way, in the sense that with this segmentation, like, no one really, like, you talk about disclaimers about, like, don't be jerks, don't be assholes, don't threaten violence. Like, a part of that is also unpacking the entitlement, that dialogue. And I feel like that conversation hasn't really happened personally. I was wondering if you had any thoughts about it, about when it comes to, I'm not trying to single out, like, like and or anything like that, but, I mean, just concepts of entitlement, protectiveness, lashing out at people that are a little bit different or diminishing them, as in, like, I mean, things like that seem to be...
It's hard to get that started because people start getting defensive about it. I mean, you can tell them that they're entitled, they go into defense mode, they don't want to have a conversation with you, they just want to start arguing and going, I'm not entitled. So it's even hard to initiate that conversation. I agree with you, we do need to start it. It's just how do you start it without somebody's feathers getting ruffled,
I was just wondering, like, with Street Fighter 2, you had that, the war of drugs versus the full effects, and they always had winners don't do drugs, winners don't do drugs on every single arcade cabinet. Could there be something like winners are not entitled, winners do not?
I can just imagine that the arcade screen, don't be an asshole.
Something like that. No, I mean, I honestly think it could work. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, the anti-drug message.
Yeah, it might be a little it's a good question. All right, thank you.
Thank you. You can't
I think that I go back to what I said earlier, is that I think we need to be open and understand and try and not immediately jump to the defense. If somebody says to you, well, I think, I think that you sound entitled. Well, hold on a second, I'm not, no, I think you can be like, okay, why? And then go from there. And then have the discussion and sort of try and find equal ground. Because as soon as one person gets pissed off, all of a sudden it's like this, and it's like this, and then we're fighting each other, and there's no solution. It's about being open and having that conversation and saying, if somebody asks you a question or says something that you think may be offensive to you, or you feel may be offensive to you, then you say, take a breath and go, why are you saying that? Can you explain it to me? Because I'm trying to understand what you're saying.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks.
Hello. My name's Ben. Right on what was just being said, I think with the whole defensive thing, it's indeed very easy to get defensive when you're talking about really big issues like this. And I think one of the most important things when you're having a face-to-face discussion is trying to assume that people are coming from a good place and that they're not trying to be offensive or they're not trying to make you upset or be an asshole. And that if they say something that might actually be offensive to you or trigger something, that they're actually not doing it because they want to see you hurt, right? If, occasionally that's the case, but when you're having a, face-to-face discussion, it's just important to remember that they're, actually trying to, communicate. That was just to that.
I think that's perfect. I think something that was said in the last panel I was in was, there will always be assholes out there who are trying to put you down. Mm-hmm. And if you have to make a decision about whether or not you want to engage that asshole or you want to try and understand why he's an asshole. So, you know what I'm saying?
And then my real question was, with the whole, it sparked with the whole Game Boy thing and how it's Game Boy I wonder if during that time, when they're trying to market a game to a certain gender, if the person that the games was marketed to, their gender, if they didn't enjoy that game, if they maybe felt like, oh, well, I don't like these games. Let's say I'm a girl and I'm playing games that are made for girls, and it's I don't like this game, but I should play this game because I'm a girl. I'm wondering if that's getting in the way of, well, I don't like video games because I don't like these games that were made for my gender, rather than just games that were made for anyone. I'm wondering if that's something that might have.
I think that's a valid.
I mean, growing up with my two best friends being girls, I didn't hear the term gamer girl for the longest time. It's just me and my two friends that were girls who would play video games, and then I don't know, I got older and it was oh, girl gamers, what?
Yeah.
I thought we were just gamers. I don't know.
Okay, we have like 4 minutes left, we have 4 people left, we can do this. So one question only, and let's keep our responses as current.
Oh, not to be an answer, but just a question, no stories.
Yes,
Say your name.
My name is Daniel, and
Hi, Daniel.
I'm a high schooler. I'm a senior right now, and a lot of people look at me weird because they think, oh, Dan's one of those guys who likes video gaming. He keeps to himself, and I get weird looks from like the jocks and stuff. And it's like, I think there's this big image that gamers gotta be that weird kid. They gotta be a weird guy. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, coming from a high school that has to go through this every day. Seeing people look at you funny for it.
I was in your position a long time ago. Don't worry about it. You're getting once you hit college, everyone is going to be just like you.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to find a whole big group of new people. It's going to be awesome. Pokemon is going to be awesome again. Everyone is going to trade and have fun with you. They're going to get meetups. Just find people like you because they are out there.
We're living in a golden age.
This is a golden age.
We're living in a golden age. I mean, that sounds really stupid to say, but like it's so silly to say, not stupid, but it's silly to say, but we're living in a golden age where like it's cool to be keyboard. And like,
And those guys, those jobs, they might be hiding this fact from you that, hey, maybe they do have an Xbox or something.
They're closeted gamers.
They're closeted.
Exactly.
they play fantasy football.
Yeah. So stand tall, stand proud, wear your Geek Shield crown. Nothing.
That's right, man.
Nothing has to change. You want to be 40 years old, married with kids. Nothing has to change. Next question. Thank you. Where are you from, by the way?
Nice.
Yes,
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
So not so much a question, but a statement on the empowerment and stuff. Like, we're looking at this as like a one-sided problem that's all on gamer side. And I agree, there's like a vocal minority that's very rude and brutal on forums and stuff. But what about accountability on the dev side? Like a better example than the ending of Mass Effect, which I enjoyed the whole ride through, and was disappointed at the end when I wasn't ready to go stab somebody a Bible in the face. What about something like Aliens Colonial Marines, where I got excited at the trailer at E3, and then you got the game that's so totally broken and janky.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of like, you got crowdsourcing now, you see all the steps that you guys are going through to help the game. Maybe that needs to be something, like a window needs to be open in terms of developers. So you see what's going on, and then you can see the train going off the rails, and you set expectations.
Yes.
In terms of what we as consumers are going to see. I mean, the discourse won't be so have so much picture.
It is not. See, here's the thing. There's a buyer beware thing. I would just say, well, if you don't like it, don't buy it. If you don't like it, don't buy it. But it's their job to make sure their games are good.
Right.
It's not our job. It's not our job to pay the money and find out it sucks.
Yeah.
Because we just didn't do the research.
Like, I mean, if you're excited about even a franchise, if you're like a Castlevania fan, and you went and just shelled out $60, without looking at reviews or anything, because you love Simon Belmont when you were 12 and you saw this game and you went home and went, oh my god, what a frag.
I know. But thank you. We have fewer people who can do this.
Hi, my name's Karen.
Hello.
And part of this is going to be a comment question, I'll try to keep it brief. So I was thinking back about what you guys were saying about Mass Effect 3 and the ending and the whole conflict between like the readers and the publishers about about whether they were titled or not. I was just thinking back to I remember back at the time when I was on the side of the players and when people started saying that the players were entitled were entitled that they didn't really have an opinion. It was my opinion that there wasn't there's no problem with being entitled to believe that you're dissatisfied with a product essentially because you paid money for it, you invested in it, especially if you played all 3 games, it's $180 right there. You're allowed to have feedback, and so from a solely business standpoint, you the consumer should be allowed to complain as much as you want. But at the same time, BioWare and other publishers and journalists were saying, this is art. How can you complain about art? You're not entitled to say anything about art. So that got me thinking. you know, it is really hard to argue about art. So I think that's where the argument came from. So my question is what, you know, with Mass Effect 3, there was a discrepancy between business and art. Like, what's the business side and what's the art side, and like, you know, what is the issue there? So my question is, it's like for games, like how do you see the line between like what is business, what is art, and what can like?
It's a gray area. It's very gray. I mean, it is a product. It's a product that they advertise. I think in that case, it's case by case. In that case, I think there was a bit of false advertisement, a bit of false information. No review mentioned what the ending is like, at least before the game came out, to my memory. That's an age-old question. Is commerce or art? I don't know. I can't answer you.
But did you see the story on BioShock Infinite about the guy who got pissed off because you could not bypass the baptism? And so he got his money back because he said it was against, no, not good for him, he said it was against Christian belief that he should take part in baptism in this game. And I'm like, but isn't BioShock and all games before it about like killing people and shooting them and like chopping their throats open and stuff? So
I guess in a business standpoint, it kind of works, but like in an art, like, you know, his mom has no artistic merit, I guess, so that's like part of the whole argument.
I think it's a great discussion.
It is a great discussion. Picasso was hired to do art, so he painted for money. So we'll see. We'll find out together. Thank you.
Hi,
Matt.
Hey, I'm Matt. So my question is, in the age now where everybody with a blogging spare time is a journalist, what is it that you guys as journalists are doing to promulgate tearing down these stereotypes? And what is it as we as independent? What is it as we as independent?
No, I'm here. Look, this is what we're doing, man.
Well, also, what is it we as independent journalists, anybody with a voice, can do specifically to maybe call out or get involved and destroy the stereotypes on like a very grassroots level? Do you have any ideas of that?
Well, I mean, you know, you can do more editorials like that, you know, talking about why games are great, why they, you know, mean a lot to you. You know, I mean, that's what we're doing here. We don't like these stereotypes. They exist, you know, kind of for the wrong reasons, so we're trying to debunk that. So I think if you're an independent journalist, you should, and a lot of independent journalists like to be negative about things. I think if you talk about things in a positive light, bring up the good aspects of gaming, I think it'll start to erode those long-held beliefs that, you know, gamers are antisocial or this or that or the other. I think that's what it is. Just get more, you know, original content that's based on positivity and about gaming. And I think those stereotypes will eventually go away.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
My previous comment about Game Boy wasn't to say what we're going to rename it as much as to point out that around that time it seems like they really started to sell to boys more.
Exactly.
Throughout the 80s it was, you know, Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man, I guess might have been the first time that we specified gender in arcade gaming. But it's one of those things where around that time, you know, I've been playing Commodore 64 and my sister bought a Nintendo. She had no issue playing Nintendo Entertainment System, but as soon as the Game Boy came out, you know, I got a Game Boy for Christmas. But she did it because Game Boy. I mean, she didn't get a Game Gear either, so I don't know what that says. But it's just one of those things like, what can we do now to try and counteract it? Game Boy is no longer, you know, a thing, but, you know, everybody from the previous generation still refers to a 3DS as that Game Boy with 3D. You know, so I mean, as the lone female on the board, did that affect you growing up? Was it one of those things where...
When I started playing video games, it was my mom introduced me to video games.
Yeah, my older sister and my aunts, they had the Ataris, they were the ones who gamed in the house, but as soon as Game Boy came out, it was like, oh, that's toys for boys.
No, I mean, for me, I didn't have any of those things. My mom got an Atari, and that's how we started playing. We started playing video games. I started playing video games when I was young with her. And this whole concept of gamer girl thing, for me, it started when I started becoming a part of trying to get myself into the industry, where all of a sudden, here I am, I just happen to be playing video games, I just happen to play board games, and then all of a sudden now, you know, because I wanted to be in the industry, I needed to be put into a box, and defined and tried to, and told that this is the direction that you need to go. And so that's why I rejected. Like it wasn't an issue with me. All my friends, I'd go to my cousin's house and play video games. I'd play video games with my friends in elementary school, college, everything. So it wasn't like that concept is this concept of gamer girl for me is foreign. That's why I push the whole equality and that that's like all of that shit doesn't matter to me. I don't care. I don't care about the labels. I don't care about any of that stuff.
I think in order to filter out the entire gamer girl and bring up demographics for the gamers is to just practice what you preach as an adult and always remember it's important to mentor younger future generations so that they don't have to deal with the bullshit that we deal with right now as much as they get older because they'll already have education from people who have gone through the annoying gamer girl, fake gamer, casual gamer, stereotypes within the community. So I think if we just practice what we preach now as gamers inside and outside of the internet and mentor that, nothing like this will be, permanent, and we're gonna need a panel to talk about how we should just be a huge fan because we're already be one in the future.
Okay, thank you. You have one more short and sweet. We're over time already.
I've heard this come up 3 times now. Actually, the reason why it's called Game Boy is during that time. This is a Japanese association. The best analogy I can give to quickly explain is if the iPod were an internal product during the 80s, there would be, instead of the iPod Mini, there would be the iPod and the iPod Boy, or the iPod. That's the reason why it's called Game Boy.
Okay, yeah.
Also, the concept of Gamer Girl is simply a normal human association that comes from it's not meant to ostracize, but it's just an association the brain makes for an outsider to what is considered the norm. And right now the norm is still that there are still more males and females in gaming. It's no different than in the Old West. The shooters are always normal white men, American cowboys, but if there was a Chinaman shooter, they would call him the Chinaman shooter.
Yeah, exactly.
That's also, and then you also mentioned why all the mascots, which I'm sad about, are now, Call of Duty, white bread American guys instead of, Spyro went into Crash Bandicoot. And the reason why is it's not meant to mirror who's currently in control of the game industry. It's simply a matter of what they think will currently sell as popular, what will make the most money. Oh, this is what the kids like, so make them all this. And then all the other companies see, oh look, they're doing well. If Call of Duty doing well, let's make our mascots look like that. And then these guys see, look what they're doing, we're doing that too. Same thing happened with, the same thing happens with malpractice, deliberate malpractice. For example, Gearbox got away with what they did with the Golden Reeds. So just recently, Bandai Namco felt they could get away with showing a demo that in no way reflects the graphics of Dark Souls 2. They said, oh look, they got away with it, so we can, I guarantee that if Gearbox, if Sega followed through with that lawsuit, Gearbox got lynched, then Namco Bandai would not have lied about what happened with Dark Souls. I hope so.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with that, that's the end of the part of Stereotypes. I want to thank my fellow panelists. I want to thank you for coming, sticking around for one of the final hours of PAX East. Thank you so much. Follow us on Twitter. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.